Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On this episode, Dear Anemone.
Welcome, everybody. This is Shonen Jumping the Gun. It is I, Kermit the Grog, your evolutionary monster piece, along with my involuntary sacrifice, Isekai Sensei Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing?
Wait, what?
You signed up for it. You went through all this paperwork. Like, you know what you got into.
What do you mean sacrifice?
Well, I mean, you're being implanted on the eye. You're implanted here to talk about manga.
I'm getting paid for this.
I mean, if you make it through the episode, yeah.
This is just a podcast. What are you talking?
Yeah, it's just a podcast, Brad. I don't know what it's just, as long as you get to the end of the podcast and get back to the boat, everything's going to be fine. You'll get paid.
Why do you keep saying if? What?
Yeah, it like very probable you'll make it back. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. So yes, welcome everybody. Today, again, as the intro always tells you, we are talking about Dear Anemone, a new series that has just dropped in, I believe, Shonen Jump proper. Sometimes it's hard to tell on the app.
Actually, yes,
we did just lose two series, so it makes sense that we got two new ones.
Yes, it is in Shonen Jump proper.
Yes, the first chapter dropped February 18th, 2024. So, at least time of recording, fairly recently. Pretty fresh. Literally fresh off the boat if you haven't read it yet, you'll understand why the boat when I get to my Kermit's patented speedrun summary. Without further ado, here we do it. We are told of the origin of life on a planet called Earth 3.8 billion years ago, and all the changes it made over time, a process humanity called evolution. The splash page shows a bloody-looking plant woman overlooking a bloodied teen. We open with an operative in a dense jungle investigating for something before he's killed by a terrible amalgam monster. It's not super clear what it is, both in character and also just the way it's drawn. I was confused. Cut to 1 year later on a boat in the Pacific. A bunch of weird loser young people are on said boat talking about their reason for being there. Our MC Gaku Hachui?
Don't get attached to most of these people.
But get attached to our MC because he's our main character, Gaku. He's freaking out all over the place. The boat is carrying 15 people to the Galapagos Islands, a registered World Heritage Site that has a population of 25,000, or at least it did until recently. This island is called Darwin's Paradise. We get a history of the island and how because of its lack of connection with any other landmasses, all of its wildlife evolved in different and wild ways. An important-looking old lady appears to tell them to be prepared to disembark soon. And the jerk guy who is a jerk, he sucks. But he talks about how they've already all been tested and trained. Could have fooled me. He's around for a bunch of this. I glossed over a bunch of his stuff because he's literally the worst.
He's the exposition character for this chapter.
Boy, does he suck. This old woman states their mission statement to gather intel on the disaster that happened on the island a decade ago. A weird explosion happened that spread an unknown virus out and made it a lawless jungle overnight. Last year, the Japanese government sent in a 15-person military investigation force, but none returned. And they were also sent to look for any information about these people. The mission is for 1 month, when they will send a pickup boat. Good luck. Good luck. The bunch of young 20-somethings go unequipped into the jungle. I looked at the art then when I was writing this, and they do have guns, but they're not drawn with guns at the time when I was at that panel, so it's just
the
really
reasonably equipped teens.
The occasionally equipped teens, depending on what panel you're looking at. They are probably still under-equipped. Go into the jungle, and they again start talking about why they came on this mission. Most say cash, but our main character has trouble talking about his reasons, saying he came here to change. A weird man appears bearing the face of one of the missing agents, and he digivolves into a terrible monster and kills the asshole in a visually brutal and bloody manner. Hooray!
Some kind of chameleon thing.
Yeah.
And it actually...
But also other things.
It uses the actual like chameleon tongue to rip the guy's spine out. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Very fatality. More weird evolutionary monsters appear and start attacking the group.
Oh, and the chameleon guy killed the guy you don't like. So
yeah.
Good for him.
We just said that.
Did you?
I said hooray.
I'll pay attention now.
Yeah. More weird evolutionary monsters appear and start attacking the group, but much like the goggles, their weapons do nothing. MC flashes back to school, where he is getting beat up, but a boy appears to help him. This boy got a gold medal in biology, which I guess is a thing you can do, and wants to go on an expedition to this island to study the local wildlife. Gaku is a weak coward who can't change, but Biology Boy thinks, just like a pretty flower, he can stand back up after getting stepped on, which I don't understand how those things are connected. This is somehow related to changing? The metaphor is unclear. We cut back now to see MC. MC sees that flower Biology Boy was talking about and runs to try and stop the monster from stomping on it. But he's grabbed and seems like he's fucked. He thinks about being weak and that he needs to change to save Bio Boy, but things look bad as blood flows out of him onto a flower. Back on the boat, they call them sacrifices and unqualified, but the old lady says they were handpicked and have potential on this hell paradise island. The flower begins to grow into a nightmarish plant creature with vines that brutally murders the bird creature trying to kill the main character. Gaku finishes his flashback remembering Biology Boy calling the flower an anemone. Roll credits as we see plant Dami Mami with claws dripping blood. End of chapter. Yo, Dami Mami plant did a lot of heavy lifting for me this chapter, because there's not a lot of other things helping me lift anything here.
So we already started watching Hell's Paradise, so I'm not sure why we're reading the manga now.
Yeah, this is just, this is like, we've had things that are like, oh, this is like this, but this is just straight up. This is Hell's Paradise.
It's literally just Hell's Paradise
less
in
interesting
modern
because
day.
Hell's Paradise is cool because A, it's samurai times instead of like weird military boat, and B, it's like weird god creatures that are all just like messed up Buddhas, and that's way more interesting than like, oh, they're weird animal amalgams. Like, I've seen that. Like, it's scary. It's surprisingly dark and bloody for Jump.
I'm actually not super surprised, because when I started reading this, my first thought was, this looks a whole lot like an isekai that I read.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
And like the art style is almost identical. And I didn't look into it, but I almost went, I wonder if that guy got hired to do something. And he was like, I don't know what to do. I know. I'll rewrite Hell's Paradise.
What if I know, I'll steal it. No one will ever know.
Because here's the thing.
I'll make it worse.
The isekai that I'm referencing is, the beginning of it is almost one for one the same as another more popular isekai.
There's like aping things.
So, yeah, my thought is, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing, so he just picks another series and goes, I'm going to do it slightly different.
We're going to do modern day. I like the evolutionary thing. It's got an island of Dr. Moreau, vaguest of vague vibes, because these animal creatures are like horrifying and like terrible, but
Yeah.
and not in like they're bad designs. They're just like genuinely like, this is terrible to look upon.
I thought it was the giant bird that lures you in by speaking like a person was awesome.
Yeah, but it's been done.
That was like the cool part.
But
of
that,
the whole
I've seen
thing.
that in multiple things where
Have
it's like,
you?
yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Oh, I've definitely seen bird that mimics humans to lead people in and kill them. I mean, again, we probably saw something like that in Hell's Paradise.
It also had people teeth, so that was weird.
Yeah. The designs are doing a lot of heavy lifting this, because the writing and the character work and the concept are like not.
And then, okay, and I have to point this out. You're reading it and you're going, this feels a lot like Hell's Paradise. And then they cut back to the boat and like the lady in charge goes, yes, this island is like a paradise and hell. And I went, are you serious? You're literally going to write it down?
It's just, it's not good. It's just not good. It does not give me, all the characters kind of piss me off. Like the guy, like I know that like, I kind of got the vibe, and I'm happy it happened where they set up the guy who sucks to die, but like nobody else is good. The main character is kind of a spineless wimp who sucks.
Which I think is the point.
Yeah, but he's just like,
it doesn't make you want to root for him.
I don't want to root. Like, there's nobody I want to root for. Like, that's why it's like the hot plant lady showing up is like, I guess here's something for me, but you've got big Fabricant 100 shaped shoes to fit in, and let me tell you, you're not gonna.
When it got to the end and like it looked like that thing killed him and his blood's like
he looks
coming out a lot.
effed.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're gonna do something different because that's not actually the main character then, right? But
no,
apparently it is.
He's fine.
So, I don't know.
It's not bad in a way that pisses me off. Like I'm not. It's just like, dude, bud.
Yeah.
Go back. Don't go here.
It's disappointing.
Yes. It is. It's bland, but it's not. It's interesting because it's not another like. It's not something that is a part of a fad. We're like, oh, here we go. Here's another supernatural teens fighting monsters thing, which I think we're mostly out of the woods on that. There's still some stragglers, I'm sure.
We'll see.
I know. It's never say never, but I think the major glut of those is over.
Yeah.
But it's still it's things we've seen done disappointingly. Would you like a burger that's like a burger you ate but made worse?
And, honestly, I think that's sort of what this comes down to is like, there's not a whole lot here that we can be like, oh, they did this okay, or that was good.
I'm rooting for this character.
It's literally just, you're just reading this thing. There's an interesting idea of evolution getting accelerated, but we've seen that before.
The main metaphor theme going right now is being really muddled about stepping on flowers, but also the need to change, and it's just sort of like, it's a mess.
It almost feels like someone had a bunch of ideas, things that had already been done, and they were just like, just put this stuff together. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, but they didn't blend it enough so you can still make out all the individual pieces.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, where it's going, I'm sure they keep going. Something caused the explosion. Maybe they'll find more. I'm sure Biology Boy's going to be alive because, of course, he's going to be alive. Even though it's like they sent military people, but then he's this little, like, bean of a boy. Like, he's smaller than most everybody else. Like, he's comical.
I don't think he's like that on the island because that was years ago.
But not that many.
It was probably like 4.
It was when they were in high school,
ago.
I thought. Yeah, but like
I think it was middle.
Maybe
I think it was middle
spurt,
school.
But like they show you like a silhouette thing of I thought of all this. Maybe not. I don't know. But just like there's nothing in this chapter that gives me hope that this writer can write something compelling or interesting.
Yeah, it's weird for me because I don't really care.
Yep.
And when I don't like something, I want to really not like it because I want to feel
something
like I don't like this for a good reason. But this is just like, I don't know. Like what are we doing?
It's just aggressively unpleasant at a very low hum.
Yeah.
It's not shouting at you. It's not grating. It's not even just straight up boring. It's just whatever one step lower than nails on a chalkboard is.
Yeah.
It's just like you didn't stub your toe, but you're just having it like there's a rock in your shoe, but it's not that big. So every couple of steps, it's like
sand.
I can keep going.
You got sand in your shoe.
Oh, that's worse because then you got to get it out, and that's tough.
But not like a whole thing. Just some sand.
Yeah.
You can feel it every once in a while. I don't know. I feel like reading this is going to be work.
Yep.
So it's not as if like it will be a painful experience, but it's like, do you really want to?
I mean, to skip ahead to will I keep reading it, I'm probably going to give it 5 chapters, and if it does not pull me even once, I'm going to drop it. Because there's other stuff. Usually I try to keep up with like the actual stuff and Jump more, but like there's some other Jump Plus stuff that's on the app that we will probably cover one day that like I read 2 chapters of, and that this reminds me of stylistically, and I just said, no, I'm not doing. This is not what I want. I don't usually like these darker ones, and especially when it's like, it's a vibe that I don't like, and it's just not very compelling. It's just the perfect choice to go, yeah, I'm just not gonna.
So I said in a recent episode that like, if there's a series that I'm just like, on, and there's like 30 chapters, I would just sort of put that to the side and be like, maybe Maybe I'll read that at some point. With this manga, if there was 7 chapters out, I probably wouldn't read it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just because we're like right on the it's part of the discourse to see,
This
if
is
it can gain it or if it continues to fumble.
This series is only going to get my viewership because I'm going to read it week to week.
Yep.
And it's going to take me 5 minutes and it won't be any skin off my back. Not a big deal. But like, if this takes any work from me, I don't care. Even that I hate it. I literally just don't care.
The one extra thing I want to put out in the world, because it's been on, it's now entered my things that I think about of being in Shonen Jump, because we had wonderful guest and friend of the show, Maxie B. I love saying friend of the show, blankety blank. I also love Maxie B. Thank you, Maxie B. Of like, what is the makeup and personality of Shonen Jump proper? Jump Plus you can get kind of funkier with, but it's like, does this fit? Does this fit the vibe of the rest of it? You can have different things in Jump, but like this feels so out of place. And I don't necessarily I don't want to harp on it too much because it's like, well, just open your mind. It could be different things, but also it does not help that it's easy to do this because it's just not good. So it just feels like it's grasping at something that A, doesn't fit, and B, is not good.
Yeah.
Because if something's good, you can forego a lot of supposed rules if things are good.
Yeah.
Things that you can be angry about in certain situations. I feel like the One Piece live action is the most noble thing. It's like people forgive a lot of things. They get mad at other things, live action anime, because like people enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, they were genuinely entertained and felt things by it.
Yeah.
So certain things where it's like, we're usually annoyed when people do this in other adaptations, but because you actually were like actually good at the end of the day, you get more benefit of the doubt. So,
and I mean, let's be fair. This might be the worst that I can say that something is.
Yeah.
Is that I literally just don't care about it.
I don't even think we need to high noon at this. I guess we do need to high noon because you just said a bad thing about it where it's just literally the least you could care. What's one good thing I could say? I'm excited about the plant mommy.
Well,
that's literally it.
We all knew that coming into it.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much like I'm dead, I'm tired, last lipstick. Oh, hi. But also in that moment going, "Oh my gosh, I'm so simple." Like literally that was all I needed. Well, okay, maybe I'll give chapter 2 a try. Like it was just such a sad moment for myself to see how just completely easily won over I was.
Well, but let's be fair. Our high noon is only for if we're opposite on something.
Admittedly, yeah, we were technically in agreement. Just you can never fully go, I won't read it. But admittedly, I'm only giving it a couple more until I'm done. So with that, what's your vote? Or I guess I should say first, Truxan, please help us with the rules of the range. Hey everybody, it's me. It's Truxan, your friendly neighborhood Truxan. It's Truxan's Rule of Range. So we're at the bottom. We got dead walking, dead in 20 chapters or less, an early grave, like do retrial or candy flurry. Next up from that, we got a flop, granted a stay of execution, under 50 chapters, like a Fabricant 100, or a Doran Dororan, whatever that is. Next up is It'll Live, hangs on just past flop zone, sub 120 chapters, like PPPPPP, or Magu-chan. Then we got Solid, seer that does well but hasn't reached its true popularity, like an Akane Panache or Undead Unluck, can get an anime. Then we got the hit, truly popular with an anime and hundreds of chapters, like a Black Clover or an Assassination Classroom. And finally, oh my gosh, the Supernova, industry shaker and shaper. Readers want to be with them, other manga want to be like them, like a Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen. And that's Truxan's Rules of the Range. Back to you. Thank you, Truxan.
Thanks, Truxan.
So with that, Brad, what's your vote and what's your feelings?
Flop.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. It's not aggressively bad enough to be a certified, what is it?
Dead walking.
Dead walking.
Is the new term.
Right. Certified flop is trademarked for Shonen Flop. We are not.
And it also implies other things than chapter counts, which is what we're trying to capture.
But yeah, I don't think it's so aggressively bad as to be dead walking, but it's also just like there's not enough here to be anything.
I mean, agreed. Some people also made the point between this and another recent one, Super Psychic Policeman Chojo, is just like there's a couple other things headed out the door already that will probably keep these alive past 19 chapters.
They didn't.
So just like
It's just going to be filler.
by virtue of positioning and time and what's in the magazine, it will live past 20.
It did not.
Wow.
Because it has to,
Unless it's so aggressively bad.
Unless it aggressively shits the bed more than it already has.
Because we only read one chapter. Who knows?
We did. Who knows?
It might get way, way worse.
It did.
Wouldn't hold your breath.
As far as feelings go, whatever the second from the bottom is.
I have bad, even worse, and then please die so I can spit on your grave.
Actually, I don't know that I would go as deep as even worse. So
Yes.
I'll just say bad.
I will agree with. I have that same feeling. I think if I had more vitriol in me, I'd say even worse.
If there
but
was-
it's not good. It is bad.
Right. If there was anything in here that was like actually offensive,
Yeah.
it would go lower.
Yep.
But because it's literally just
Or
it's
if
violent
it got my
and
hopes up more and
Yeah.
then dashed them. Like that's a
Right.
way to get into those. Also, just for my own thing, if no one ever gets it, it's bad and even worse because Michael Jackson had the album Bad, and then Weird Al's album that parodies the cover is called Even Worse, which I was a fan of.
Although I think this is the lowest rating I've ever given anything.
I know, I'm so proud of you.
But I'm still gonna
I
read
know.
it.
I mean, me too for a while, but at some point you'll stop, and then one day, hopefully many, many years in the future, you'll die never having read it, and that's what will give me life.
We will have to see if this will get bad enough that I just literally can't read it anymore.
This is the fulcrum of this is not to just like if you not like something, but to genuinely go, I won't read this. That
Yeah.
is the words, and I'm getting closer. I'm not asking you to hate everything that has never been the mission statement. I don't want you to become a cynic. I just want you to be able to say the phrase, I'm not going to read this.
It'll have to be a series that has a lot of chapters out already, I think.
But you still have to say it because you won't. You don't.
Well,
You
I-
say you will read it, even if it keep putting push
no. So it'll have to be I don't care for it, and there's a lot of chapters out.
Yeah.
That'll be the point at which I will go, I'm not going to read this.
Yeah.
Because if there's so few chapters, I'll read it. Even
Yep. Just
I guess-
just to try.
I feel like it would be difficult for something to actually get in Shonen Jump that was so bad that I wouldn't read it.
I don't know.
Well, that's the journey that we're on.
That's the journey that we're on. So at time of recording, there are 2 chapters out.
Good for them.
Good
I
for them.
guess. They've got a job. That's more than some people can say.
They're in Jump. I can't say that. Sure.
Hey, we're on the internet.
We're on Spotify.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are sold.
Well,
Wait,
thank
we
you,
didn't get
everybody.
to the plugs yet.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to do that. So thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Dear Anemone. Anemone. There's a joke from
An-
2 decades ago.
Antonymity?
The auntie and the uncle anemone.
Anonymity.
And that's what this author's going to need after this, because, oh boy, this was not great. With that, Brad, tell me what's up.
Yeah, we got all our usuals. So we want to thank Segoy Mart for partnering with us. Segoy Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch, and they got all kinds of stuff you can't get outside Japan. All our listeners can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. And we want to know what you think, so check us out on social media. You can find links for that on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. And you can also leave comments up there on the episodes, and there's also other posts and reviews. And come chat with us on Discord. We'd like to hear your opinion on Dear Anemone.
Anemone.
And, of course, we also have our Patreon, where supporters can get perks like getting a vote on which series we cover on heroin addiction, as well as getting the high-quality stereo version of the episodes early.
And bonus episodes.
I should probably put that in every time.
Yeah.
And, of course, we want to hear what perks people want, so let us know. And of course, shouting out all our patrons.
At our Reincarnator tier, we've got Cake Dwarf and Moon. At our Merchant tier, we've got Kill Hour. And last but not least, at our Commoner tier, we've got Rena.
Thanks to our patrons.
Thank you, patrons. Thank you, everybody, once again for listening. Make sure you listen to the Mainline podcast. That time I got reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster. And, Brad, I have to go to the island. I know I'll probably die, but one of them's got to be a hot one, right? Right? Am I coming through? Can I hear myself again? I guess so, yeah. It was weird and now it isn't. Okay, dear Anemone. Anemone.
On this episode, dear Anemone.
Grimoire Vice. On this episode, dear Anemone. And I just want to keep doing Fred Schneider voice.
Dear Anemone.
On today's episode, Dear Anemone.
When you're on the island and you get eaten by a bird.
But it wasn't a bird. It was a fucked up monster. Welcome, everybody. This is Shonen Jumping the Gun. I'm your evolutionary masterpiece, along with my...
You should say your name first.
Oh, I should say that too.
You're going to have to put blood everywhere.
Death by Snoo Snoo. Or just death by death. Death by Death West.
What if you get crushed by one of the Dami mommies?
I don't know. I'm still, like, again, there's big shoes to fill with Fabricant. I don't know. This plant woman might be not good.
It's so sad. I like the idea. But
What?
The go to an island and there's crazy stuff
yeah,
going
but just
on.
like you need a character you want to root for more to survive through that.
They
Like
didn't
I
do
think Hell's
anything.
Paradise did that a lot better.
Yeah. Because they set it up before they went there.
Yeah. And here you just got a bunch of characters that sucked, including the main character, and they're just like, we don't have time to talk about him. Get in there.
And they're even like, hey, here's the flashback. Here's why he's here. It's like, I don't care.
There's so much information that's not
This
important.
doesn't make me care.
Like, you have the intrigue
should have
of what's
talked about
going
this
on
during the episode.
Yeah, you have the intrigue of what's going on the island, and then you should spend your time, instead of describing more of what's going on and just go intrigue, you should go, here's an emotional connection to why you care about the main character surviving and being here, outside of like, he's such a wimp and he needs to be here to change. Like,
Yeah.
he's really lame and he sucks.
Hey,
Like, he's
I need-
almost cool of like the need to change, but also he hasn't changed any since that moment.
I need to grow as a person. So, you know what? I'll go on
die.
a suicide mission.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think they knew it was a suicide mission.
Maybe
Super
a little
sketch,
bit.
though.
Super sketch, which leads me to believe. This has nothing to do with this, but I will always be... I don't know why it brought it to my mind. Have you seen anything of Disco Elysium, Brad?
Mhm.
There's that one bit when you're talking to all the dudes in the restaurant, and you're like, Kim, give me your gun. And Kim's like, why? No. And almost all the options are you're pointing the gun at yourself and go, you tell me the information I need or I'm going to shoot myself in front of you. And just being like, you know, usually think at that moment, it's like, oh, I'm going to point the gun at you. Tell me what I want or I'm going to hurt you. But just tell me what I want or I'm going to hurt me.
I will traumatize you for life.
I will go to your doorstep and knock on the door. And when you open it, I will blow my brains out and you'll have to live with that. As like a means of like coercion and maintaining power in a conversation. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?